Ravana Jadi Jamunati Ravana Jadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Adi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Adi Gopishana Bhalabha Girivara Dhari Gopishana Bhalabha Girivara Dhari Jasodanandana Brajanaranjana Jasodanandana Brajanaranjana Jamuna Tiravana Jadi Jamunati Ravana Jadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Jayom Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajagacharya Ashtatara Sukasi Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Sapoti Vaishnavrinda Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ji Shri Radha Shama Sundara Ki Bora Premanandi. Some of you, many of the persons of the audience still looking around the room. Many of you were with us for the Festival of the Holy Name. And this is our Sunday class, not yet, but we're having a conclusion of our Festival of the Holy Name. And what I wanted to do this evening is two things. Some nice words of inspiration, primarily from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur on chanting of the holy name. And then we'll sing together Kevalastakam and hear a little bit about Kevalastakam, what it is, what it means, and some of the verses from Kevalastakam. At least that's the plan. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is
That's nice.
Yes. There he is. The very first Krishna conscious literature I received was in my undergraduate study at the university that I was attending, and one of ISKCON's devotees, Burijan Prabhu, was a classmate, same school. And Burijan Prabhu, we were having lunch together in the student center. And just in the course of the conversation, he didn't say what it was, but he gave me a Back to Godhead magazine. Now, the Back to Godhead magazine at that time was kind of rudimentary. It was not the glossy, spiffy Back to Godhead magazine today. It was stapled together pages prepared by a mimeograph machine. And in case you don't know what a mimeograph machine, those at that time, you crank a barrel, you barrel cranks and it prints out the page on some system. I don't know what that system was. And then they gathered the pages and some number of pages, 5, 6 pages, and stapled them together and Back to Godhead magazine. Voila. So he gave me a copy of Back to Godhead magazine. Because it was from Burijan, I didn't know what it was. I didn't read it right away. I just carried it around with me. And there's a ringback in this system. So somebody saw me with my stack of books and the Back to Godhead magazine, and they pointed at the magazine and said, "Oh no, you're not into that, are you?" And I said, what do you mean by that? He said, "Well, you don't want to read that. You want to be into that." So I read it. And what's the big deal? And the feature article of that Back to Godhead magazine, because it was 5, 6 pages. It was an article written long ago by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So that was the first Krishna conscious literature I got, Bhaktisiddhanta. That was like introduction to the Hare Krishna movement, Bhaktisiddhanta. And the title of the article was "The Bhagavat is Ontology and Morphology." So I had to look up the title, 3 words, I didn't know the meaning. And then I was curious, so I started reading the rest of the article. And those of you that are a little familiar with Bhaktisiddhanta's language, it's not his first language, but his language was so high. Every second sentence, I had to look up a word and circle the word. And you know how you do when you're in college and you put the meaning in the margin. And 3 hours later, I finished the article. And 2 things. Sitting back after 3 hours, I don't think I understood what I just read. And the second thing was, however, I experienced a state of consciousness that I had never experienced before, because when it's a rule, if you don't know, ask. And in the matters of transcendence, we don't know, but ask. And Brahma Jigyasa, or seek and you shall find. And so I was just like, there's a higher reality. 1, I know there's something beyond all this stuff. 2, what it is, I don't know. 3, I want to know. That was it. And then, voila, Bhagavad Ontology and Morphology by Bhaktisiddhanta. And then that place of higher consciousness, he somehow or another, by his transcendental association, lifted at least this reader to that place. So that was my introduction. So I was always looking up to Bhaktisiddhanta, and still looking up to Bhaktisiddhanta. Like, he's way up there. And I want to hear from him. So one of the ways that he arranged for people to hear from him was he wrote extensively in letters and essays and, you know, and other, that the written, as you see from the photograph, the written word was very important, and he had it captured. He had, you know, people that transcribed and edited and did things. But, you know, to the printed word was very important to him. And so one of those printed words was a letter. And this is excerpts from a letter. It's from Pretrabali. He kept letters bound and then had them published. So here's a letter to one devotee. I'm overjoyed to hear that your enthusiasm for chanting is increasing. As our contaminations are removed by chanting, the Lord's form, qualities, and pastimes will be revealed to us in the name, the holy name. Through the, not through the via media of, but in the holy name. There's no point in making a separate effort to artificially remember the Lord's form, qualities, and pastimes. The Lord and his name are one and the same. This will be understood clearly when the coverings in your heart are removed. By chanting without offenses, you will personally realize all perfections come from the holy name. Powerful. Through chanting. He's just answering a letter. I'm happy to hear you like chanting. Through chanting, the distinction that exists between the self and the gross and subtle bodies is gradually effaced. If that's another word, effaced. Like it reduces. It's residual trace only, effaced, removed. And one realizes one's own spiritual form. Once aware of the spiritual body, as one continues to chant, one sees the transcendental nature of the Lord's form. That was pretty quick, huh? Only the holy name reveals the spiritual form of the living being and then causes him to be attracted to Krishna's form. Only the holy name reveals the spiritual qualities of the living being and then causes him to be attracted to Krishna's qualities. By service to the holy name, we do not mean only chanting the holy name. It also includes other duties of the chanter. If we serve the holy name with the body, mind, and soul, then the direction of that service spontaneously manifests, like the sun in the clear sky of the chanter's heart. What is the nature of the holy name? Eventually, all these understandings spontaneously appear in the heart of one who chants the holy name. The true nature of Harinam is revealed by listening to, reading, and studying the scriptures. It is unnecessary to write anything further on this subject. All these things will be revealed to you through chanting. That's a letter. Some saying, I'm starting to like chanting. What encouragement. Gosh. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. This is Prabhupada performing worship of Bhaktisiddhanta on his occasion of his appearance day. Now, another one of our great acharyas that wrote extensively about the holy name is Bhaktivinoda Thakur. This is from Chaitanya Shikshamrita. Upon returning to the spiritual world, Krishna, gladdened to see his dear devotee, opens his storehouse of rasa with the following sweet words. Oh, friend, I have been carefully holding this storehouse for you. You alone have rights to it. Rejecting me, you fell under the spell of my energy of illusion. Continuously I have shown great regard for you. As you have attained this by your own efforts, I am extremely pleased. Serve my ever-fresh, pleasurable form and play with me in the endless ocean of bliss. Do not fear, do not lament, for you have attained eternal life, a bliss. For me, you have cut all chains of material attachment. I will not be able to repay the debt of love you have shown. Be naturally satisfied in your service. Very sweet. In the course of the many years, I heard the number 19. If somebody has a different number, that I'd like to hear it. Because I got lost track of how many years we've been having this particular event, Festival of the Holy Name. But one of the features of the Holy Name, the chanting of the Holy Name, comes from this Kevalastakam. So the plan is, Sri Rupa is going to sing the Kevalastakam song, and we're going to sing responsively the Kevalastakam song. It's going to appear on the screen in a moment. A little history is there's this Nilakanta Goswami didn't write just 8 verses, but he wrote 100 verses, Shataka, Nama Kevala Shataka. And he was an associate of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He was a near contemporary of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur was very broad-minded, and he gathered inspiration and material, etc., from many sources. And Nilakanta Goswami was one of them. So it's now become a staple for the Hare Krishna devotees, this Kevalastakam. But that's the root or source of it, the chronology and the author, and it's just glorifications of the holy name. So in the course of the song, sing responsively. There's 8 verses. Hare Nam Eva Kevalam is how it ends. Hare Nama Eva Kevalam. Holy name alone is everything. Kevalam. Very nice melody too. Oh, yeah. Okay. the question is asked, you've heard the question, why this order, why not Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, etc., comes from the Upanishads, exactly in the sequence that we chant, that Mahaprabhu gave, and we follow. And here's the rest of the verse. After searching through all the Vedic literature, one cannot find a method of religion more sublime for this age than the chanting of Hare Krishna. So I'm going to go back and we'll review a little bit. Excuse me while I go back to read the translations from Kevalastakam. And the plan is I'll speak on one of the verses, and a devotee who many of you don't know so well, but you're going to, hopefully you'll get to know him better as we go forward in time. Govinda, over here, started the Hare Krishna movement in New York, and somehow or other he ended up in Vrindavan, and somehow or other he ended up being Indra Prabhu's right-hand man in the 24-hour kirtan program. And when Indra Prabhu left his body untimely, Govinda took responsibility for that 24-hour kirtan program, and for a number of years, that was his life. So, Hare Nama Eva Kevalam. And he's visiting us. So I'm going to ask him, he's hiding, but he'll hopefully agree, speak on one of the verses. So as we go through the verses, you pick the one that you want, and I'll pick another one beside the one you picked. So here's the translation. Madhuram madhurebhyo pi mangalebhyo pi mangalam. More sweet than all other sweet things. Mangala, more auspicious than all other auspicious things. Pavanam, the greatest purifier of all purifying things. Superlative. Sweet, auspicious, and purifying. The entire universe, Brahma, Stamba, Paryantam, the entire universe from the exalted Brahma down to the lowly clump of grass, is a product of the illusory energy of the Supreme Lord. The only thing that is reality, Satyam, Satyam, Punah Satyam. Again, I say reality. The holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. Satyam Sat Satyam Punak Satyam. Second verse. That person is a true preceptor, or a true father, a true mother, and a true friend also, only if they teach one to always remember. Smartum, sada smartum. Harir nam eva kevalam. There is no certainty when the last breath will come and put an abrupt halt to all one's material plans. Therefore, it is wise to always practice chanting from very childhood. The holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. Lord Hari eternally dwells in that place where truly exalted, spiritually advanced souls sing in the mood of pure devotion. The holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. Oh, dukham. Oh, what a sorrow. Mahadukam, what great sorrow, more painful than any other misery of the world. You ready? Mistaking it as a mere piece of glass, the people have forgotten this jewel. The holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. Diyatam diyatam karno, diyatam diyatam vachaha. It should be heard again and again with one's ears. It should be uttered over and over with one's voice. It should be perpetually sung and sung anew. The holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. It makes the entire universe seem like trin, an insignificant blade of grass, straw. Trinikritya Jagat Sarvam. It splendorously reigns supreme over all. Rajate Sakalopari. It is full of eternity, full of eternally conscious divine ecstasy. It is supremely pure. Plus another 92 verses. Shatakam. During the time of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had become neglected and distorted both. So there were deviated sampradayas or upasampradayas abundant, still some interest in chanting. And of late, the interest in chanting is on the rise. And there are many persons who were doing this and that and the other thing with mantra meditation, and therefore hearing, receiving, along with proper teachings of the Hari Katha, along with the chanting of the holy name is necessary, not optional. But with proper guidance and proper teaching, the full potential of awakening our original Krishna consciousness is within the name. So, can we give the microphone to Govinda? What? Sure, that's a great idea, as long as he doesn't say no. Do you want to identify which verse you want to speak on?
I think the second one.
Okay. Second one. They're all nice.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namre Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschita Deshtarini. So I feel very awkward sitting on the same level next to my spiritual master. I think you also feel awkward. And I was called earlier today and I was told Maharaj takes no for an answer, because but here we are. And so
I didn't say that.
I'm not familiar with this song. Maybe I heard it once or twice when I read it. What struck me is this Harinama Eva Kevalam. Every verse ends with the same ending. There is nothing else in the universe but the holy name. And it reminded me, of course, immediately Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who has wrote so many beautiful songs in his Gitavali, Sharanagati. I love those prayers. They just really speak to the soul and explain our sorry material existence here. And many times he also emphasizes the same point: is nothing but the holy name. Material life is very uncertain and dangerous. In fact, the Japanese Buddhists, their saying is the only permanent thing in the material world is change. Everything's changing, and that's the only permanent thing. Nothing else is. And I wanted to read one of the nice bhajans by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, where he concludes, again, there is nothing else in the material world, or the 14 worlds, the planetary systems, 7 higher, 7 lower, but the holy name. Nothing is real here. We are in this world, but we're not of this world. And so, I don't know the Yakirtan. Anybody knows this one? No? I just read the English translation. When the eastern horizon became tinged with the redness that heralds the rising of the sun, the jewel among the twice-born Brahmanas, Lord Gaura Sundar immediately awakened. Taking all his devotees with him, he journeyed through the towns of villages of Nadia, which is West Bengal. The mridangas resounded, tatai, tatai, in quick succession, while the large janja timbals, which is the wampers, we call them. They give a wump sound. This is an American slang, I guess. The wampers. Chimed in time. Lord Gauranga's golden form trembles again and again in ecstatic love of Godhead, and his footbells jingle. Lord Chaitanya calls out to the townsfolk, fill your mouth with the holy names Madhava, Mukunda, Yadava, and Hari. You spend your nights uselessly sleeping and your days decorating your bodies. So it's so beautiful. Today, we forget all these things and the holy name was our priority. And other days when you sometimes struggle chanting 16 rounds, but today the 16 rounds are gone, and you're focusing in the 32, and so it's really just setting your priorities. And as Maharaj said, when I used to live in Vrindavan, now I'm a Mayapur Basi, and I love it. The Panchatattva there is my favorite. So when I used to live in Vrindavan, we had to do 6-hour kirtan a day, plus your minimum 16 rounds. And here you have a kirtan mela or whatnot, some festivals, and everybody gears up to it. And it's it's a big hype, kind of like. But when you do this on a daily basis, it just becomes a second nature. Where is Nandu? Where are you, Nandu? He's not here. He spent a month or 2 in New York, and he came back a changed man, different person, isn't it? How do you feel? He came back from spending hours and hours every day chanting the holy name. Whether people like it, they spit on you or they smile at you or whatever happens. It's the Sankirtan Yagya. We don't do it for puja, pratishtha, or lobha, get some name and fame. But you have to do it because this is what pleases the spiritual master. This will please Lord Chaitanya, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, our predecessor acharyas, our spiritual master, and every living entity in the universe. There's nothing better you can do for anyone than chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. So when you do it like that, so you can also make it your priority. What does Lord Chaitanya says here? You uselessly sleeping at night and spend your days decorating your bodies. Anyway, talk too much. You have achieved this rare human body. Don't you care for this gift? If you do not worship the darling of Mother Yashoda now, then great sorrow awaits you at the time of your death. Prabodhananda Saraswati says in Vrindavan Mahimamrita that, oh brother, don't think that the Hare Krishna Mahamantra will save you at the time of death. We are thinking, oh, when I am on my deathbed, I will chant. If you didn't muster up the courage and the practice throughout your life, you will have different things on your mind. But if you do it every day, this will be on your mind, because this is the important thing. With every rising and setting of the sun, a day passes and is lost. Why then do you remain idle and not serve the Lord of the heart? You should understand this essential fact. Life is temporary and filled with various kinds of misery. Therefore, carefully take shelter of the holy name and remain always engaged in His service as your eternal occupation. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur just said earlier, you may not be able to, or serving the holy name also means supporting and facilitating your chanting or somebody else's chanting, the kirtan, etc. Chanting also means studying, reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Desiring to shower benedictions upon all living entities, the sweet name of Krishna has descended to this material universe and shines like the sun in the sky of the heart, destroying the darkness of ignorance. Drink the pure nectar of the holy name of Krishna, and thus satisfy the soul of Bhakti Vinod. He's begging you. I beseech you. Except for the holy name, there is nothing within all 14 worlds. The last sentence. Same thing here. And how do we come to this understanding? There's nothing but the holy name. How? And I just remember Srila Prabhupada said that one if one has not, how do you say, one is not materially exhausted, he cannot sincerely chant the name of Gaura Hari. We're chanting, but it's hardly a resemblance of a shadow reflection of the original thing. And if you allow me one more bhajan from Bhaktivinoda Thakur Maharaj, is that okay?
Yeah.
This is some Sharanagati. They have two different moods, Sharanagati and Gitavali. Previous was Gitavali. Dhanya, or humility. O Lord, please hear the story of my sadness. I drank the deadly poison of worldliness, pretending it was nectar, and now the sun is setting on the horizon of my life. I spent my childhood in play, my youth in academic pursuit, and in me there arose no sense of discrimination. In young manhood, I set up a household and settled down to spell of material enjoyment, while my children and friends quickly multiplied. Does it sound familiar? Don't raise your hands. Old age soon arrived, and all joys consequently departed. Subjected to the torments of disease, I am troubled and weak. All my senses are feeble now. My body is wrecked and exhausted, and my spirits are downcast in the absence of former sense pleasures. Devoid of even a particle of enlightenment, cheated of the mellows of devotion, what help is there for me now? O Lord, you're the friend of the fallen. I'm certainly fallen, the lowest of men. Please, therefore, in mercy, lift me to your lotus feet. Were you to judge me now, you would find no good qualities. Have mercy and judge me not. Cause me to drink the honey of your lotus feet and thereby deliver this bhakti vinod. So we can understand from this prayer how in the pursuit of happiness, the soul becomes illusioned and forgets about this real object in life, Krishna's holy name, and falsely think that material life will bring you pleasure, gross or subtle ways, and you spend your nights and sleep, and daytime decorate your body, provide for your family, and these things are nice, but externally we have to carry and carry out these duties. But if you don't set our priorities, then you will end up in this very sorrow state. So therefore, we have to come back to the same point. Harinama eva kevalam. Nasteva, nasteva, nasteva gati ranyata. So that's all. Thank you.
He didn't refer to the words of the verse, but he explained the words of the verse. I'll read the words of the verse again. Ah, Brahma, stamba paryantam, sarva mayam jagat. The entire universe, from the exalted Brahma down to the lowly clump of grass, is a product of the illusory energy of the Supreme Lord. Satyam, Satyam, Puna, Satyam. The only thing that is reality, reality, again I say reality. I don't know the history, whether the author of this series of prayers and Bhaktivinoda Thakur were friends, but they certainly were of a similar mindset. And again, just it's nice, for me at least, it's nice to remember this circumstance. The circumstance was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life and teachings had faded in prominence, and in their place, whenever there was an interest in spirituality, there was pseudo-spirituality, abundant and popular. And in the midst of all of that, Bhaktivinoda Thakur emerged as a luminary, and at least he appreciated, if not had some personal friendship with the author, because their mood is quite similar. So I thought I wanted to speak on a different verse. Well, I want to speak on several different verses. Here's one of them. Whoops. Because I'm reminded from this verse, reminded of Prahlad Maharaj. Now, it's not from Srimad Bhagavatam, it's from another Purana, where Prahlad Maharaj is lamenting. I was searching for a broken piece of glass and had left aside this most valuable jewel. So that it seems that that's where this is taken from. Kacha. It's hearing from Srila Prabhupada is very wonderful. And, one of the things is I've studied some foreign languages, but I've not studied Bengali or Sanskrit. But just hearing Prabhupada, I can learn some essential words. Paka and kacha. There's something that's very nice. There's something that's really crummy, like very poor quality, kacha. So kachartam, vismritam, ratna. Ratna is jewel, and it was taking this piece of glass to be a jewel, and had forgotten the jewel. And the forgotten jewel is the holy name. So many other things have taken their prominence for me in my conditioned life. Oh, what sorrow, what great sorrow, greatest of all miseries. The jewel of the holy name has escaped. And instead I'm looking at broken pieces of glass or a mere piece of glass. And that was Prahlad's sorrow. Excuse me, Dhruva Maharaj, not Prahlad. Because he wanted a kingdom and he wanted revenge and he wanted on the material side. And that was consuming him. And by the mercy of, we know the story, but by the mercy of Narada, he did a U-turn. And while living a life of austerity, the purpose of that austerity dissipated and became, the ideal dovetail, instead of the material motivation, the spiritual motivation. What's the problem? It's me, I have to do this? That's it? Pardon me. During the course of preparing ourselves for this retreat, or for the 64 round day that we just experienced, the letting go of other shelters is necessary for taking the real shelter. Because as long as you're holding on to other shelters, then the real shelter is not your position. It's an obstacle. It's maintaining. A very nice teaching on the same point I like very much, and that's from Jagatananda Pandit. Jagatananda Pandit wasn't a celebrated author amongst the followers of Lord Chaitanya, but he did write, and what he wrote, Prema Vivarta, was his love for Lord Chaitanya and his loving exchanges with Lord Chaitanya. And one of the sayings in Prema Vivarta is a caution. don't make the mistake of trying to cross the ocean with one foot in two different boats, because you'll end up in the ocean. You'll cross the ocean. So there's the tendency, one foot in the material, one foot in the spiritual boat, and try to cross the ocean of material existence. It's not wise. And to put both feet in the one boat doesn't require becoming a sannyasi. From any position, we discussed this in another context altogether, the stane statak shrutigatam tadabanmo nobir verse. Whatever your position, stay in your position. According to your position, there are duties. You perform those duties according to your position. And the purpose of those duties is alignment with the purpose of life from whatever that position is. And then to ensure that that course of the goal of life is where you're headed, is hearing topics of the personality of Godhead. And specifically because this is the festival of the Holy Name, it's focused on the Holy Name. Because one of I'm going to go back to something that Bhaktisiddhanta wrote. Yes, this very first. I'm overjoyed to hear that your enthusiasm for chanting is increasing. Shri Radha Shama Sundaraki. As our contaminations are removed by chanting, the Lord's form, qualities, and pastimes will be revealed to us in the Holy Name. It's not... I like it. I like the teaching very much. Because everything, Harinam Eva Kevalam, same. Within the Holy Name is all of this. And to realize all of this through the medium of purification, of hearing and chanting, of course, hearing and chanting the Bhagavatam, and hearing and chanting Katha, Hari Katha or Bhagavat Katha, and the essence is the Holy Name. So they're not in competition or in contradiction, but everything is there within that sound vibration of Krishna's holy name. Harinam Eva Kevalam. So it's 6:35. What time is this supposed to end? Premananda, where's Premananda here? 8 o'clock. Okay, 7:35. Do we have some time for discussion? If any of you would like to discuss some topics in relation to what we've been doing the whole weekend, not just what's on the screen here. Yeah, Mukunda.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I was actually just thinking to ask about this statement of Bhaktisiddhanta because essentially there is the necessity to hear Bhagavatam, read Bhagavatam, to understand Krishna's name, form, qualities, pastimes.
Yes.
And then there's also the principle of everything is present in the holy name. And so...
Is it a contradiction? It appears to be a contradiction. That's your question.
Yeah, basically the question is, when you chant, should you be actively contemplating the knowledge that you're receiving from the Shastra, or is it that you just let the holy name do its thing and you don't try to, because otherwise there might be a tendency to
distracted.
Yeah. Like
from the name.
I need to think about what I just read so that the Mahamantra works.
Okay.
Works.
I got it. I got the question. I want to hear your answer to that question.
Yeah, I think the answer is no. I think the answer is that you are supposed to chant with focus and attention, because all of these things come out of the holy name.
Yes.
And I think somewhere in the background, the other activities of devotional practice that we do, such as hearing and reading, they feed our conceptions, like subtly almost. They're like changing our consciousness from another angle, perhaps.
I have another way of saying close to what you're saying, but it's different from what you're saying. From another teaching, I'm sure you've heard me say, because I repeated it many times because it strikes me. When we say the holy name, it's in this particular letter. When we say the holy name, it does not mean only, although it's Kevalam, that's like strong. Kevala is like absolutely. It's not explicit, but implicit that the teachings accompany the holy name, like Radha accompanies Krishna. So one might think in a similar fashion. It's esoteric. One may think in a similar fashion. There's Radha Krishna, Radha Shyamasundar. Am I to focus on Radharani, and by the mercy of Radharani, then the truths of Krishna will be revealed? Or do I meditate upon Krishna, and he's always accompanied by Radharani, and so naturally I'm going to be thinking of Radharani because I'm thinking of Krishna because he's always accompanied by Radharani? As if it's a binary thing. Or similar to your question. So my understanding is this: they go together for a reason, because supposing somebody doesn't have the mercy of the Bhagavatam and Harikatha and Bhagavad Gita, supposing they don't have that, is it possible they can come to the wrong conclusion? So, similar to what you said, but different, they go together. And it's not that while I'm chanting the holy name, I'm taking the focus of concentration on the holy name and getting distracted over here by, a certain passage or another passage. It's part of, my understanding is it's part of the flow of, when you open the gate, and the river starts flowing, the what do you call that? It's something you stop the flow of a river. What's the word? The dam. You open the floodgates of the dam, and there goes the flow of the river. So the flow of the river is going, and there's waves. And so as you're chanting, stay focused on chanting, not use that energy from chanting to then meditate on something that you read over there or heard over there or something like that. They go together. The test is is the focus staying, because the focus is Krishna. Radharani is the pleasure potency, or the Vedas illuminate the truths about the absolute truth, or the details of the absolute truth. That's Krishna Tattva, which is within the name, but then, so stay focused on the name, which is what you were saying. And the other is nourishing my appreciation of the name, or the person, Krishna. This feature, that feature, the other feature. And it's something like the rising of the sun. Things become illuminated by the rising of the sun. And the things that become illuminated, I can start to see in an illuminated way because of the rising of the sun. And then the meanings, and similarly, the meanings of the Vedas are revealed through the medium of the holy name. They enhance one another. The main focus when chanting is chanting, not reviewing or examining messages heard during or from Srimad Bhagavatam. Radharani wants our attention to go to Krishna. That's the pleasure potency function. Krishna likes attention to go to her. She likes attention to go to Krishna. The focus is on Krishna. He's the Shaktiman, and she is the Shakti. Focus goes to Shaktiman through the agency of Shakti. Here's a spin-off on the question you're asking. Our acharyas, to say the 6 Goswamis in particular, and then close followers of the 6 Goswamis, they wrote abundantly on Srimad Bhagavatam. They also wrote prayers and other ashtakams, etc., about the holy name, but proportionate to the glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam in different versions and different varieties. It's the Bhagavatam. And within the Bhagavatam is the holy name. Different names, and embellishing and illuminating what this name means and that name means through the commentaries and the explanations. So they go together. Yeah. Let's see if there's other comments or questions.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. And three reflections. And the first is, I think, is corresponding to Govinda Prabhu, who talks about, comments on the rephrase in the Kevalastakam, the holy name alone is everything, and also that the similar expression in another bhajan that says throughout the 14 planetary systems, holy name is the only thing that exists. Mm-hmm. And I think just to put it in the context of the national holiday in the U.S. this weekend, the day that celebrate the independence. And I think that phrase, which Govinda Prabhu commented, is really a call that the supreme independence is really the independence to become dependent on the Holy Name's mercy.
Very sweet. I knew you would come up with something poetic.
Thank you. And then a second reflection, I think, is in the morning we have quoted Bhaktisiddhanta talks about hearing with spiritual ear, and now in this letter he's talking more about the name in itself reveals the other aspects, form, quality, pastimes. And I think, and also in the chanting, today's chanting, I feel like it's hearing with spiritual ears is not just hearing, because it's also about seeing through spiritual ear, and smelling through spiritual ear.
Now you're getting really poetic.
Because the spiritual organ, like what is said in Brahma Samhita, has the capacity to all the different other senses. It's not just hearing; it's also about all the kind of sensory experiences that we could have.
Well, differentiate. I'm going to interrupt. In the Sankhya teachings, it's on the field of matter, and separate from the field of matter is where that field of matter, what's the object that field of matter is a reflection of. The poetic part that I really appreciated was, hearing enables, because the material senses go to the mind, and the spiritual senses go to the mind, or they go to who we really are, because there's not a distinction between the spiritual body and the self. So the spiritual hearing enables, the answer. Any one of the spiritual senses can accomplish any one of the other spiritual senses. So it's seeing through the ear and experiencing through the ear, when it's spiritual hearing, which is, one of the principal ways of spiritual perfection. Krishna may suddenly appear within the heart, and suddenly Krishna may appear outside the heart, if he so desires, and feels someone is a qualified. So the qualified person is the one who is sincerely engaged in the process. So our sincere engagement in the process, as Bhaktisiddhanta described in this morning talk, was hearing with a spiritual ear. And then it's a nice meditation. What does that mean? And if you try to understand what it means through the mind, you won't understand. Because it's not within the mind. It's not a topic within that field, that purview of the material mind. So one can understand by hearing, with other adjectives, rapt attention, etc. So I'm responding to your appreciation of this morning hearing and chanting, with hearing with a spiritual ear. It's a nice meditation, nice focus. You want to add more? Okay, I thought so.
And thank you. Just on that same point, while we're seeing through spiritual year, I think it's important to keep in mind that we are not the seer in the sense that we are seen by Krishna, by the holy name. So we are the object of his seeing. He is the enjoyer, and we are the servant. And it's a very intimate relationship in the sense that just like the gopis, when Krishna withdrew himself from their vision out of his love for them, Krishna later on told them, even though you cannot see me, but you are always in my sight.
Yeah. And how to enter into that understanding or that experience. That's the bhakti process, and that's the starting point is hearing chanting.
And then the last point, I think it's more common on the sangha we have in this weekend. I think taking shelter of the holy name or seeing that holy name alone is the shelter is also to recognize that each one of us in the assembly, young or old, male, female, Indian or whatever.
Whatever. I'm in the minority too, don't worry.
It's each one of us assembled together. We enhance the inclusivity and the connectivity with the holy name.
Equal
It's not just
opportunity.
a one-person process. It's a sun kirtan.
This is an equal opportunity organization. Just have to be spirit soul. That's your card-carrying certificate. Anybody else? I thought so. Balaram Prasad. I got that vibration from you. Before even you raised your hand, I knew something was going on over there.
Maharaj, when you started the class, you said just reading the Back to Garden magazine with this article,
Yes.
even though you did not understand,
Yes.
you said there is a change in the state of consciousness.
Well, more, I specifically, I felt that Bhaktisiddhanta, somehow or other, he had the potency to lift me to that place that I knew existed, but I didn't know what it was. Because of that eagerness to know what it was, he took me there. And Burijan handed me the magazine. So he gets Krishna points too.
So I was thinking, this is the first time you are reading an article from Acharya and how it changed your consciousness. So reading all these 3 or 4 slides, it was very powerful. And I was thinking how Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, whether he came to a conclusion after chanting 1 billion names, or did he come to the understanding, yes, Krishna's holy name is everything, and that is why he chanted 1 billion names. So I was just thinking.
It's a chronology question.
Yeah.
I have a guess, an educated guess, but I don't know confirmation and answer. These letters that he wrote were from the position of being the Acharya. And before being the Acharya, he did this Namavrata. And then following the Namavrata, because he performed the Namavrata at a certain place that became the headquarters of the Gaudiya Math, Chaitanya Gaudiya Math. The place where he did that Vrata, there's a room where he did it, and then later the place became his headquarters, one of the 64. So his letter writing was part of his being the Acharya, which was preceded by the Namavrata. It's an assumption, it's a likely fact, but I don't know confirmation because I don't know when he wrote this letter. But he's writing as an Acharya to a disciple or to a follower. Okay? Does that answer your question?
Yes, Maharaj. I was thinking, when do I get that change in state of consciousness, despite hearing many times? I was thinking in that way.
Well, he was a Vaikuntha man from his birth. A ray of Vishnu from birth. But then, progressive evolution in how all of that unfolded, an interesting, fascinating history. So I'm not sure are you, at what state did he have the realization of what he's expressing in this letter? It seems to be what you're asking. Is that what you're asking?
It's no. It was first thing you said. State of consciousness was changed in you.
I'm sorry. Hold it a little further away because you hold it closer and I can't hear you. Try again.
In spite of hearing many times the lectures and the holy name, I don't know whether when do I get that state change in state?
When will you get?
Yes.
Oh, it's up to Krishna. There was a whole class on it, right? You can't hurry Krishna. And everything takes its natural time. And it should be like that. It is like that, and it should be like that. So when Kabi Habi Bolo Seidi Namar, when will we have that? So it's in Krishna's hand. When he sees, there's a whole other. When Radharani puts in the word to Krishna, he's ready. That's when. Shri Radha Shama Sundara Ki Jai. Okay, it looks like that means the end of class. So we're all supposed to do something else right now. What's the something else? Where's our MC? Where is she? Give this young lady the microphone.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Now we will just meet downstairs for dinner. And tomorrow morning, We will reconvene at 7:10 for Guru Puja, and 7:30 initiations will start.
Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.